Hey, what's up? It's Primetime Football, and I'm going to give another one of my top 10 power rankings. First up at number 10, we've got Miami. I have them in number 10. I didn't have them in the top 10 last week. I have them 10 now. It's more due to other teams dropping than them doing something. I mean, they had a bye week, but even from the week before, from them doing something that impressed me or something like that. They just haven't looked very great since the Clemson game. Before that, they obviously looked pretty good, and then Clemson, they get blown out. Then they have kind of a shaky game against a Pittsburgh team who is decent, but they ended up losing 19-31 to Miami. So you'd think Miami should be able to beat them by more than that. And then they only beat Virginia by 5 last week. So they haven't looked amazing since that Clemson game. But looking at the rest of their schedule, there's not really much going on until UNC game. But if they continue to play the way they are right now, I could easily see them dropping 1 or 2 games. Coming in at number 9, I've got Wisconsin. Obviously, I mean, they've had some COVID issues. They had to have their game canceled against Nebraska this week. At the moment, I do not think they're actually the 9th best team in the country with the roster that's available right now. But I have to rank them on what they've done so far this season. I mean, obviously, it's not much. They've only played 1 game, but they looked good in that game. They got Purdue this weekend, if they even play. It's a possible loss. Purdue's 2-0. Then after that, they got Michigan. I'd say that Purdue is probably a bigger game, surprisingly, because they're in the same division. And if Purdue beats Wisconsin, they do have a chance at winning the division over Wisconsin, which will eliminate Wisconsin from the playoff. Regardless, though, Wisconsin's just going to have to try to stay alive these next few weeks until they can get the COVID situation figured out. Coming in at number 8, I've got Cincinnati. They might be the best Group of 5 team since UCF in 2017. Very good defense. Offense has been looking even better every single week they've played. They should be favored in the rest of their games. UCF, I'd say, is probably their hardest game left on the schedule. But the question about Cincinnati is, if they're undefeated, do they make the playoffs? They will definitely need help, but I'd say it's possible. I just don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll make a video about that sometime. At number 7, I've got Florida. Defense looked much better this weekend against Missouri. They allowed 0 touchdowns until about 3 minutes left in the game. The offense still looks great. Trask looks great. Pitts looks great. And Kadarius Toney has really stepped up this season as the number 1 wide receiver. He's really good right now. I'll just say that. They got Georgia this weekend to stay alive in the playoff race. Basically, the SEC East Championship, if you want to call it that. At number 6, I've got Texas A&M. Off of a good win against Arkansas, the score of the game indicated that it was closer than it actually was. It was 42-17 going into the 4th, and then A&M just kind of slowed things down, put in some backups, and ended up being 42-31. This is the Kellen Mond we've been waiting for. This is the best he's played at A&M. Started in the Florida game. He looked right there. They ended up getting the win. Played pretty good against Mississippi State. And then had a very, very good game against the pretty good secondary in Arkansas. Texas A&M should be favored in the rest of their games. If they win out, can they make the playoffs? I don't know. They'll need a lot of help, just like Cincinnati. Because a one-loss team that doesn't even win their own division is no shoe-in. I know Alabama did it once, but they're Alabama. This is Texas A&M. At number 5, I've got Georgia, just like last week. Off of a win against Kentucky, but that win cost them so much. I feel like half their starters are either hurt or were hurt. Mostly on defense. Pickens was out on offense, I know that, but it's just a minor injury. He should be back. But all these injuries could not have come at a worse time. With Florida coming out this week, Georgia kind of got screwed with the COVID stuff, having to have their bye moved up before the Kentucky game. Because if they had all these injuries and then a bye week, that would make me feel a lot more comfortable about them going into this Florida game. With all these injuries, the depth's going to be tested, but Georgia is deeper than any team on defense in the country. Second half, the depth did look good. I think Kentucky had 0 points in the second half. I know they're not great in offense, but that's still pretty good. Anyways, Florida is miles ahead of Kentucky, so we'll see how deep this team really is on Saturday. But let's talk about the offense. Actually, not the offense. The quarterback. I'm not going to go into it too much because I'm planning on making a video maybe sometime this week or next week, depending on the result of the Georgia-Florida game. There's a lot to talk about. I'm not going to get into it now, though. We'll talk about that another time. Coming in at number 4, I've got Notre Dame. Not much has changed from last week. They played against Georgia Tech, who is not a very good team. Won 31-13, I think the final score was, so nothing too impressive, nothing bad at all. Defense is still one of the best in the country. I'm not sold on the offense, like Georgia. Ian Book is just very inconsistent to me. I feel like he's a very average quarterback for them. I know Notre Dame fans might get mad at me for saying that, but he's very average, if you get what I'm trying to say. They got Clemson this weekend to prove themselves. Pretty simple. Coming in at number 3, I've got Clemson. I had them at 2 last week. I moved them down from 1, and I moved them down again this week. Every year, Clemson has one game out of nowhere that they either lose or have a little bit of a scare against a bad team. They lost to Pittsburgh at home a few years ago with Deshaun Watson. They lost to Syracuse on the road. They almost lost at home to Syracuse. It's just random teams that come out and they have a close game with Clemson. And Clemson ends up being fine every year. But, this year, there's been 2 in a row, actually. They were struggling with Syracuse. I think it was 27-21. Syracuse definitely had a chance in that game. I know they ended up winning 47-21, but Syracuse definitely had a chance. Then this week, you're down 18 points to Boston College at home. I know you don't have Trevor in there, but if you watch that game, DJ was not the problem. Trevor being there would not have changed anything. It wouldn't have. DJ could not have played much better. He played almost perfect. So I'm tired of people saying, well, if Trevor was there, blah, blah, blah. It's just, that wasn't the problem. The real problem has been the defense. They've just been allowing, it's not even that they've just been bad. They've just been allowing random big plays, and they've just looked bad for, small periods of time. First half against Boston College didn't look good. Against Syracuse, there were just a few random, big plays that Syracuse had that really was their whole offense. Overall, they didn't really get much done, either team, except for maybe Boston College in the first half. But anyways, they're going to need to step it up. I think they will starting this weekend. Clemson always seems to show up for the biggest games. I think that's one of Dabo's strengths. His team's always ready for the big games, no matter how they perform against North Carolina last year. Now Syracuse and Boston College this year. They're going to show up when they need to. They always do. They always have, and they always will. At number 2, I've got Ohio State. I'm going to say something right now. Some of you guys may disagree. Some of you may agree. Comment down below if you agree. Justin Fields is the best college quarterback right now. Keyword is college. Okay? Trevor's going to be a better NFL quarterback. Justin Fields is the best college quarterback right now. Okay? The offense looks very, very good. Week 1, the run game was a little bit of a question. People were kind of poking holes at that. But week 2, they ran for over 200 yards. So I think they kind of answered that question for you. Defense is the reason I have them at 2 and not 1. They've kind of looked off at times. Sean Wade's not looked the way people were thinking he would. I don't know. He's just not looked great so far. But looking at Ohio State's schedule, They shouldn't lose any games this season unless they randomly drop one like they have done in the past. I mean, I guess you could say Michigan's the hardest game. Maybe Indiana, that's their highest ranked game. I don't think Indiana's that great of a team. But Indiana and Michigan, I guess you could say, are the two hardest games. And finally, at number 1, I've got Alabama. Look, their resume is just too good to keep them away from the number 1 spot. I mean, beating Georgia by 17 and then Texas A&M by, was it 28? That's enough to keep you at number 1, especially considering Ohio State and Clemson. I mean, I know Ohio State has a win over Penn State, but again, Penn State's not even ranked now. You know, nobody has a better resume than Alabama. They looked great in their first game without Waddle. It was pretty much expected because, I mean, it's Mississippi State. But we'll definitely learn more about how this team is this offense is going to be without Jalen Waddle throughout the season. The defense is really starting to look good. I know that was a big problem, especially right after the Ole Miss game, heading into that Georgia game. They allowed 48 points to Ole Miss. It was terrible. Everybody was saying, oh, Alabama is not even a top 5 team. Or I don't know if they were saying that, but people were unreasonably complaining about Alabama's defense. They allowed 24 points to Georgia in the first half. Not good. Since then, they've allowed 17 points in the last 10 quarters. So, yes, if they continue to play like that, they are the best team in the country. And I don't think it's very close right now. So I'm going to keep them at 1 until proven otherwise. Well, that's going to do it for the video today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It'll help out a lot so I can keep on making videos for you guys. So thank you.